Hello, Elaine Shanley coming at you from Fountain of You Coaching.com. I am doing a little helpful video for you parents out there sending your kids off to middle school. It's like the second most stressful one next to kindergarten. Kindergarten, we're crying, we're gonna miss them, especially if we've been home with them, and we don't want to miss those moments, and we're worried about what's going to happen to them, but we're excited about all the great stuff that's going to happen. And then we kind of get okay. We're kind of complacent. And I think elementary school, if you're in the standard public education that the United States has, you kind of get in a groove and you start feeling good, much like the kids, right? So you move on to first grade, and then you're moving on to second grade, and all's going well. And then you're hitting fifth and sixth grade. Things might start to get a little dicey. And then you come to the expectation of middle school. The kids are freaking out. And I know the parents are freaking out. I was a freaker outer just a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. But I'm telling you, you can do it. You got through kindergarten, you can do it. So today I'm gonna go through just a couple things, kind of a how to survive middle school for the parents, okay? Because the kids, they have a lot of discussions if you're in, like I said, this is more of a general public education, and the kids are kind of prepared. They talk about it in fifth grade. They talk about it in sixth grade. When you get to middle school, this is going to happen. Many of them get to see that wonderful fifth grade video on puberty. Oh, puberty. Oh, it is just dreadful, and it freaks them out, and it freaks us out. I'm here to tell you, it will be okay. So I have spent the last 4 years working in a middle school, and I have reflected on, why am I there? Okay, I hated middle school. Let me be real. Okay, it was really hard. It was stressful. It was traumatic. And why is it that I choose to stay there every year? And that's what I tell the kids. Can't be that bad if the rest of us have chosen to come back and stay here, okay? Let's just put that in perspective. So I do work in a local middle school here in Idaho, and I absolutely love it, really, to be honest. But I can definitely see why it's such a struggle. So a lot of the times when students come into, I'm talking, our middle school, 7th and 8th grade, and when they come in, they're these sweet, chubby faces, and they're just little kids and growing up so fast and sweet and kind for the most part. And then as they start getting, you think it's comfort, but really, if you look at a 6th grader going into 7th grade and an 8th grader going into 9th grade, they look completely different. There's this huge transformation that happens between 6th and 9th. So 7th and 8th grade is like huge. I don't care if you're a slow grower or a fast grower, a late bloomer, whatever you want to say. 7th and 8th, huge difference in looks, maturity, emotions, everything. It's definitely a huge transitional period. And I think that's what we as parents tend to tap into, is that kind of freak out mode of, oh my gosh, they're not a kid, but they're not yet an adult. They're not even like a full-on teen yet. Middle school is when we usually get to celebrate that. You're turning 13. Yay, I'm a teenager. So I've got a couple tips. Okay, this is just going to be a little chat to help you survive middle school, mom and dad. Okay, because they're good. They will struggle for sure, but they will be okay, okay? And so will you. So let me give you a couple tips on how to help that transition. The first tip I'm going to give you is be involved. I know it's easier said than done, and I know they don't want you to be. They say they don't want you to be. You know what? They also say they want to stay up all night. Are you cool with that? No, I didn't think so. So it's not what they want all the time. There is that independence, and there's that feeling that they're growing up, and I got my notes right here. I'm going to move them out of the camera. There's that growing up and that seeking more independence. And there's something, usually it's about the time we hit 8th grade that we start kind of thinking, okay, it's probably time to pull back and give them a little bit more independence and a little bit more freedom. And it's not that that's bad, that's actually a good thing, because developmentally around early adolescence, so we're talking beginning of middle school, this is where it's developmentally appropriate, normal, necessary, that they start kind of veering off onto their own. They start forming their own ideas. They start listening to their own music. It's less about what they have been given, and they start kind of tinkering with their own thoughts and ideas and branching out. And that's actually a really good thing. So it's okay to pull back a little. What I would caution you to do is to do it strategically. So what I mean is to pull back, but still keep an eye. So you're still supervising, but you're usually just a little bit further back. I don't know, a little bit of a hidden kind of supervision. And that's another reason why it's so good to stay involved in, I'm talking like PTA, PTO, whatever your school has, any sports or clubs that they want to do, support that, and kind of do what you can to be involved. Even if you can't take a leadership position or you can't go to all the meetings, that is not even what I'm saying here. What I'm saying is you keep one foot in. You get to know the other parents. You get to spend a little time in the environment. You're kind of there in the peripheral, and that will help you find your appropriate providing independence and still kind of keeping an eye out. So peripheral is what I like to call that, because you're still there. You're just not like on them, but you're totally a keen. You're paying attention. You're attuned is the word I'm looking for. So yeah, totally comfortable, pull back a little, but not all the way. Be cautioned and be intentional about how you pull back and provide independence. You know your child best, so you know kind of what that looks like. It's great for them to be involved, and I would encourage any kind of involvement, even if they're just trying it out. And there is this kind of push, usually around middle school too, that kids start figuring out what they want to be focused on. What sport do you want to play? What, pick your thing and stick to it. But I say, as long as they're open to trying things, I say you try to get them to try as many things as they can, because as you grow and your brain starts pruning things away, you're more likely to come back to something that you've tried once before than to try something brand new, especially when they get to be 16, 17. So if they're willing to try different things, I say try different things. It's going to be very beneficial. And as far as also being involved, I want to say parent-teacher conferences. They really start to fall away come middle school. I don't know if it's that, parents have just been so focused for so long that they really need to focus on work and this and that. If you can't make conferences, that's fine, but you should be in pretty regular communication with people involved with your student or your child, whether that be a teacher, multiple teachers, whatever. And this is where it comes in really handy to know other parents too. So being involved, huge thing. And again, they'll fight you on it. A lot of them will fight you on it, but I'm telling you, you don't give in to everything else they want. Don't give in to that one either, okay? The last part of being involved that I want to discuss is check-ins, regular check-ins. And I'm not talking about your checkups. I'm talking about check-ins. These moods will fly off the handle. They will be up, they will be down, they will be here, they will be there. So you're going to want to do a lot of mood checks. And I'm talking visually. You're watching their behavior, you're watching their words, you're watching their tones. And And some verbal ones too. How you feeling today? Whatever. You're going to really want to be doing some mood checks. You're going to want to check in with teachers, as I had mentioned before. And grades. Grades. There's a big push for student independence in middle school. And that's great that they do start taking responsibility for their own learning. However, they're practicing, not masters. So most of these kinds of things can be found online now. Checking grades, checking attendance, things like that. A lot of schools will have online access. So I suggest you use that frequently and employ some of your own kind of things. Do your own parent-child conference. That's something I used to do with my son. I would check the grades constantly, and then when I started seeing something dip and I was a little concerned, I'd be like, hey, we're going to have a little conference tomorrow night when you come home, so be ready for that. And then he'll come home and pull up the grades together and look at them, and I'll ask a lot of questions. Oh, so what's going on here? Oh, I forgot to turn that assignment in. And then that's where you can do a lot of teaching and follow through. So what happened there? Oh, I just forgot. So when do you think you can get that in? Well, I don't have that class tomorrow, but I can get it in on Friday. Okay, I'm going to check with you Friday afternoon, and hopefully you'll have that turned in and your grade will come up a little bit, okay? Okay, so you're kind of putting it in their hands, right? There's that little bit of control that they need. It's your assignment, your grade, your teacher, but I want to be there to hold you accountable. So you tell me when is reasonable. And if they're like next month, well, you can call them on that as well. Reasonable? So check-ins, grades, moods, teachers. Moods and days. Another great tool for check-ins. Oftentimes when we talk to our early teenage middle school students, kids, whatever, we get the broken record response. We ask a lot of like, how was your day? And we get a lot of good, it's all right, whatever. You want more information. Obviously, you're not there and they're kind of doing things on their own, and you want to know what's going on. So let me give you a couple examples of some great questions to ask that invite a further response. This is where I need my notes. You can ask them, instead of how was your day, ask, what was the best thing that happened to you today? You could also go with, what was the worst thing that happened to you today? And you can use them on different days. That's 2 questions in one right there. You're welcome. Tell me something that made you laugh today. And don't be afraid of a little bit of silence. Just wait. Because sometimes we have to think about it. We have to recall, we have to replay our day. So don't be afraid of a little silence. And really listen. Like, you really want to know, right? Show them that. How did you help someone today? And if you're really trying to practice empathy and awareness for other people and things like that, that's a great question. Tell me about a time you helped somebody out today. Tell me about a time somebody helped you out this week. Something like that. How about, when did you find yourself bored today? And then what was going on? Because they can tell you when they were bored. They can tell you when something didn't go right like that. And if it's not so grade focused and not so super specific, questioning their friends, usually you can get a little more out of it. The more open your question is, the more they'll take it where they want it, where their mind takes them, and you're not guiding it somewhere. Try, hey, who's the funniest kid? Why are they funny? Who's the funniest kid you know at school? What'd you do at lunch? How about this? Anybody pick their nose today? Anything. I'm telling you, you want to be creative because you're getting the good, but you're asking the same question every day. How's your day? Good. How's your day? Good. How's your day? Good. Here's my favorite. So if you were the teacher tomorrow, what would you teach? Why? They have amazing answers, and it makes them kind of think. They can't give you a rehearsed response to things like that. And you can look up all kinds of other questions. Those are just a few ideas of some things that you can ask to get the conversation going. I'm also going to tell you, know the rules of your school. Know the school rules. You as the parent should also be aware of the school rules. And I'm not sure if every school does this, but you bring home that student handbook, it's got all the rules in it. Everybody's got it. You sign it, you turn it in, but really, do you ever really read it? Know your school rules. So that is all part of being involved, and that's a lot. It's a lot of work. This parenting stuff's not easy. I totally get it, and I'm with you. But you are going to be involved, and you're going to create yourself a support group. And if you don't have one, and you're on Facebook, you can join ours, Guidance to Goal Parenting, and just a lot of support and sharing. So anywhere, meet some of the parents, whatever you have to do to be involved, okay? Next, my second huge tip for you, respect. RESPECT. And when I say respect, I mean respect your kids and your teachers that are there. Both the kids and the teachers are professionals at what they do. They're both highly trained and they are professionals at what they do. So know that you should. There are a lot of times where we need to assume positive intentions, and that goes for both our teachers and our kids. Our kids are learning how to communicate. Sometimes we as adults are learning how to communicate, and there's so much room for error. If you're assuming good intentions and you are doing more of a, could you help me clarify this perspective with both your kids and teachers, you're more likely to get a little bit more clarity in what you need. And a lot of the times, both parties, teachers and kids, they really are doing the best they can and giving you the best that they got for what they think you're asking. So respect. I know. When it comes to respecting independence for your kid, again, we talked about how this is a normal phase for them, and respecting that independence, respecting that they get to make some choices and decisions now, and you're not always going to agree with them because you know what's best. You know that little practice, little studying, little homework won't often yield amazing grades on tests. You know that. We all know that, and they know it too. But they know it because they've been told it, and sometimes they have to practice these things. And I would say just let them practice a little bit. Let them make a couple age-appropriate, independent choices, and be there to support them when it doesn't work out. You're teaching them how to be supportive. And feel free to admit that you're not crazy about that choice, or that you feel like you know where this is going to go. That's okay. That's all part of communicating. But respect that they're going to make a couple choices, age appropriate. And again, all of these things are your child best, but just little food for thoughts, because they're getting a little bit of independence and a little bit of choices at school when you're not there to make them for them. So they are getting practice. They're not free from consequences. You know that. And consequences are not always bad. So they're going to get their consequences, good or bad. And I don't want you to misunderstand the difference between consequences and punishments. There is a difference. So consequences of not putting in the study time, consequences of not taking time on your homework to make sure things are correct, are grades that are not fantastic sometimes. And that is a consequence. We'll say natural consequence. They will learn with those consequences. It might take a while, but that's okay, because they have, think of it, our kids have from 12 to at least 18 to learn these things. That's 6 years of implementation and practice and all of that stuff. So respect the process that it takes to really learn things in a solid way. And that also means don't save them. You can't save them from everything. and that every parent is going to do for themselves, and it looks different for every parent. So examples of not saving them could include, you ask them to pack their lunch the night before, you check with them in the morning, they don't pack it, they go to school, figure it out. One day of no lunch is not going to starve them, but it is going to be a consequence that might be a little more memorable. Another example might be, wow, you really flew through that worksheet pretty quickly. Do you understand it? Oh yeah, I understand it. Okay. And you might know that they don't understand it, but don't save them. That they'll get it. They'll get it. You will know. You will follow your intuition. You know your child best, and you know what areas are going to be okay to step in and when to kind of back off. But I'm telling you, take some permission to go ahead and allow them to try these things out. Encouragement for independent choices in clubs, activities, sports, things like that. That's a little bit of age-appropriate power for them to decide what they want to be a part of. And respect independence when it comes to drama. If there is nothing else in middle school, there's drama. Drama. You have no idea, because she was dating him for like 2 days and then they broke up. And I mean, it is drama for sure. There's a lot of drama. It's not all based around relationships, but there's a lot of drama. This teacher and that teacher and my friend and all of this. You learn a lot from listening to the drama, to be honest. And my thoughts here are, don't minimize the drama, because that drama is their whole life right now. So we can look at it and go, that's nothing. One day you'll really get married and you'll really have these issues or whatever. But that does not empower them. It minimizes their feelings, and what they're feeling is true and real. So the 8th grader who has an 8th grade boyfriend who looked at another girl, that's real. My final piece of advice: do not panic. Do not panic. You are the pillar. You are the parent. You have lived through this. It will be okay. And when they feel like it won't be, they will look at you, and you will be showing that it will be okay. This too shall pass. What is it? Maybe like a kidney stone, but it'll pass. Don't panic. You are teaching them. You are modeling self-regulation, self-soothing. You're teaching them that things are going to go a little crazy and a little haywire, and that you're going to come out okay on the other end. They've seen, likely, if not in your own family, their friends' families, go through hills and valleys. It's okay to go through those valleys and be okay on the other end. So don't panic. Communicate. Remember, they're in practice mode, not mastery. And expecting perfection is just going to create a lot of stress and a lot of heartbreak for everyone. So I would say for you to keep in mind that this is your time to teach, to model. You're teaching them communication, all of these things. And if you're back to being supportive of their independent choices, if you are verbalizing that you don't entirely agree with this and you're not sure it's going to work out right, but you're still supporting them, that speaks volumes, and that's a huge, huge lesson. So don't minimize those very, very, very simple lessons. Those will usually stand out more than a lot of other ones. Don't take it personally. A lot of stuff is going to happen. Don't take it personally. They're growing up and they're in a weird place. Everything's weird. The school is weird. It's chaotic. The other kids, they feel weird. Their moods are weird. Their brain is doing weird things. Don't take it personally. Teach communication. Expect respect. Show respect. Expect respect. You know, all those things that you do. but just understand that it's going to get wonky and it's okay. And things take time. And I can catch myself falling into this instant gratification culture that we have now, that we almost shame the students for, and we're doing it too. So recognize these things take time. So yes, they might not do so well on this worksheet. Yes, they might not have studied so well. Yes, they might not do so well on that test. Yes, you would think they would learn that right after that test, but it might take them a little time. So be patient. It's 2 years, and the whole time there's a lot of changes. I'm going to show a picture of me in 7th grade and I'm going to do 9th grade because that's the end of 8th grade, right? The very beginning of 9th grade is the end of 8th grade, and you can see huge differences. Check it out sometime. Check out these kids when they're going in to 7th grade versus when they're coming out and heading into high school. Huge differences. And I think we forget just how much happens in that time. Most of all, it's not about you. We're super sensitive sometimes about our parenting. I know I am. If I'd have done this, then he would have done this. I should have said this. I should have expected this. We're all doing the best that we can. And if you're a parent that's watching this video, talking to other parents, reading self-help parenting books, anything like that, you very clearly care and you are doing the best you can. And when our children start growing up and making their own choices, that is not an absolute direct reflection of what we have done. We can do everything perfectly and they're still going to stumble because that's part of the learning process. So I think that might be part of the don't take it personally, okay? There's so much power in that. And too often, it's in almost every movie about a teenager. I'm not living your life, I'm living my own life. And we always kind of gawk at it, but it's a little bit true because we always want better for them than we had. If we would have just gone to college right away, we wouldn't have wasted all this time in our lives and we'd be making more money back then. But you know what? We made our choices and we were going to make them no matter what a lot of the times. They're going to make their choices. It doesn't mean that you're not a good parent. It does not mean that. If you get a call from school, nobody's saying you're a bad parent, okay? The good kids sometimes are just ones that don't get caught. To label kids good and bad can almost make the situation worse. So it's not about you. Don't take it personally. They're growing. Be proud of what's coming. Be excited for them. And respect that their world is a little bit smaller. If you need some support, seek it out. As I told you before, we are here. Guidance to Goal Parenting right now is purely on Facebook, but be on the lookout for some small group coaching for parents. And I mean, it's out there. So I hope this helps. You're on my mind. My heart is filled with thoughts of you and everything that you're going through and everything your child's going through. So be involved, be respectful, and don't panic. Please don't panic. It will be okay. We made it and we're okay. It will be okay. All right. Good luck.